Right, I wanted to talk about Halloween. Of course, what can be said about this? Everybody has talked about this movie already. Everybody knows about this movie. It's considered a classic of the genre. It's a proto slasher. It's been duplicated or copied many times, but in a lot of ways, it kind of sets the rules for the slasher genre, but it's not really a real slasher. There's not a lot of gore in this. Things would get really over the top, and I don't really consider myself a fan of the slasher genre. Um, I think that probably my favorite slasher movie or imitator of Halloween would be uh, not John Carpenter, but James Cameron, The Terminator. If you look at The Terminator with Arnold Schwarzenegger, it's essentially a spin on Halloween. It even has the synth score. It's very. The Terminator is very John Carpenter-esque, but I'm not here to talk about the Terminator. I'm talking about Halloween here. Movie was made on the cheap, with almost no money and shot in almost no time, and that's what makes it so impressive. Is that if you look at it and you go, man, they shot this for. I don't know what the budget was. It was under $500,000. I think it was like $350,000 or something like that. And when you compare it to stuff that was contemporary to the time, this movie really holds up quite well as a 70s film. It's from 1978, and people have compared it to Hitchcock, to Psycho. In fact, Janet Leigh in Psycho, Jamie Lee Curtis is Janet Leigh's daughter. So, what else can I say about this film? I don't know what to say. The sequels, they pale in comparison. They're just not that great. I've only ever seen the first three, so maybe I shouldn't talk about the entire franchise. I'm not really interested in watching further. I've only seen the first three simply because those were the ones that John Carpenter was involved with. He and Deborah Hill did this one. It was shot by Dean Cundey. This was Dean Cundey's first film that he did with John Carpenter as cinematographer, and the use of light and shadow is really evident. Just the way that the shots are framed, the use of, the framing the shots to create tension, the use of the score. It's a very minimalist score, and it's all done to create tension. Donald Pleasance is really great in this as Dr. Loomis. You have some other John Carpenter regulars. Charles Cyphers is in here as a police officer, sheriff of the town. You have Nancy Keys, who's credited as Nancy Loomis, is in this. She was in Assault on Precinct 13, which preceded this film. She's in some of the other John Carpenter films as well. So Halloween 2 kind of demystifies the Michael Myers character. I didn't really care for it, although it does look good. It's shot by Dean Cundey as well, and John Carpenter did some of the score for that along with Alan Hayworth. And then Halloween 3 has nothing to do with the Michael Myers character. The score, I think, is mainly done by Alan Hayworth, but there's some John Carpenter credits on that as well. And then after that, I don't think that John Carpenter was really involved with the Halloween franchise. It's kind of like, again, comparing it to Terminator, although Terminator 2 was really a great film, okay? So maybe that's not the best comparison, but, maybe starting with Terminator 3, right? The franchise just kind of goes downhill. I'm not really a big fan of movie franchises, kind of like Jurassic Park. The first one is a classic, and then Jurassic Park 2, 3, they're just not as good. The whole Jurassic World franchise spin-offs, I'm not a fan. So that's really all I have to say. If If you've never seen it, check it out. If you haven't seen this in a long time, rewatch it. It's a good one. It doesn't have a lot of gore. If you compare it to things like the Friday the 13th series or Nightmare on Elm Street, this is relatively tame. It's really kind of like Jaws in a way. Steven Spielberg's Jaws, but with a masked killer instead of a killer shark. So, alright. That's it. God bless. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day.